Hey guys, it's Tammy here, and I just thought I'd pop on and talk a little bit about what is conflict. In particular, this is the holiday season, and I just came back from the mall and I was reminded of how quickly and easily we manage a lot of conflict on a regular basis. We don't even realize it.
Welcome back. My name is Tammy and this is Nurse Minder, and on this channel we do everything nursing. So if you're new here, consider subscribing below so that you get the next video when it's released.
So traditionally people think of conflict as heads bashing, clashing ideas, and that there's this space of ugly emotions and heat and negativity. But in fact, most conflict doesn't have any of that energy involved. So when we talk about conflict, we often define it as a disagreement or incompatibilities, but really it's just differences, different ideas, different thoughts, beliefs, and values that are occupying the same space and have the potential to get really big and really ugly. But I want to give you an example of how often we are managing conflict without even really thinking about it and doing a really good job at it. So we were just at the mall. It's post-Christmas. We're kind of like bored sitting around. We're like, hey, let's just go walk the mall and see what's happening. And there's myself, my husband, my youngest son, and his girlfriend, and all of us have different interests. While I'm waiting in the hall for them to come out of one store, I kind of thought, I could just pop into the few stores I want and hook up with them later. So when my husband came out, I suggested that. He checked in with the kids and off we went. So there was my husband and I heading one way, and we came to a fashion store for females, and I said, I want to go in here. And he kind of just stopped there and looked at me like, I don't. Now in that moment, I could have chose to be offended by his reaction and thought that maybe he didn't value shopping with me or spending time with me. I could have been indifferent. I could have been accepting and laughed about it and think, well, geez, of course you don't want to come in here. Just go do your own thing. And so there's a lot of different ways I can choose to react. And so obviously today things are calm and I'm like, yeah, you just go do your thing. I'll do mine. We'll hook up in a half hour. We all have phones. And just like that, the potential for conflict, done. Because we had the skills to recognize that each of us had our own needs, that we are comfortable in our relationships, that there is no negative intention by not wanting to come into the store with me. And so we manage that quickly, and you probably do that a lot in your day as well. But so why do we get upset when there is conflict? And hey, by the way, if you're watching this live with me, just give me a quick hello and put in hashtag live. And if you're watching the replay, just put in hashtag replay, say hello. Let me know that you're here with me. Why do we get upset? Let's go back to that now. Why do we get upset when there's conflict? Well, there's a few reasons. One is we all have a fundamental need to feel valued, to be accepted, to belong to something. And when those are not feeling reciprocal, people feel defensive and conflict starts to rise. And so there's a real connection from conflict that goes unresolved and our health. And when I used to teach in the face-to-face program nursing students, I taught a lot out of this book, Interplay. And I wanted to share with you some of the stats of having relationships that are not healthy, that are not supportive, and kind of just drive home how important it is that we have healthy, safe, nurturing relationships. So those who do not have strong relationships are 2 to 3 times more likely to die early. Right? So just imagine if every time my husband looked at me when I went into the women's store, I gave him a dirty look and I felt upset and I didn't feel like he loved me. I may not live as long as I'm intending to live. I intend to live a long time. If you do report having a good relationship, you're actually preventing and reducing your risk of dementia and Alzheimer's. And boy, do I ever need that. Like, I'm getting to the age where I'm starting to wonder, like, geez, I can't recall names. I can't recall what I did. So I'm happy to have that extra layer of protection on my side. Okay. If you perceive that you are lonely, you are not actually lonely, but you feel like you are alone in a room or in a group, and that can happen when you feel like you're always having to give in to somebody else's wishes, maybe avoiding conflict. Perceived loneliness is actually one of the strongest predictors of poor health in the elderly. Okay, and this here, social isolation. So when we are in a relationship that we don't feel safe, that we don't feel like we belong, we tend to withdraw and isolate ourselves a little bit more from people because we don't want them to know that we're struggling. And so social isolation is a major risk factor for heart disease, and it is comparable to an inadequate diet, cigarette smoking, and a lack of physical activity. But we don't often hear about the importance of relationships as being a protective of our cardiovascular health. It is staggering to know how important our relationships are and that they're healthy relationships. So when we cannot resolve our conflict, when we often talk about compromise, and compromise doesn't always feel good to people. So for example, if I always went to go see the sci-fi movies and adventure movies that my husband likes to see, and we never go to see a comedy or a romantic movie, I'm always feeling the need to give in so he can be happy. Then I start to withdraw and I start to feel resentful and I start to build up tension inside of our relationship. And if I'm not skilled enough to deal with it, I might start to look at him as a bully. I might start to think that he has bully-like tendencies. And it may or may not be true, but conflict often leads to a bully-perceived relationship. And so if you think you're struggling in a relationship where you're wondering, is this a bad day? Is this conflict? Is this really a bully? I'd like to invite you to go to conquerconflict.com, and you'll see that there's an invite to do a free quiz that will help you determine if workplace bullying is really sucking the life out of your relationships. That being said, I hope it's not. I hope you're able to resolve those conflicts easily and with respect. Till next time, make it a great day.